Hello, this is Flights in Asia, and in this video, we'll be going to Hong Kong as the hometown airline Cathay Pacific is mounting its recovery following the COVID-19 pandemic. However, its efforts for its recovery could be derailed due to tensions with its flight attendant union. Recently, the largest union representing the flight attendants of Cathay Pacific has started a work-to-rule industrial action, which has major implications for the airline and travel to and from Hong Kong. On January 17, Cathay Pacific's flight attendant union, which represents around 3,000 of the airline's flight attendants, published a letter announcing it would start its work-to-rule action starting January 19, right before the Lunar New Year holiday. In the implementation of its work-to-rule action, flight attendants who are participating in it will only work what is stipulated in their contracts, which includes not working on days off. The flight attendants also continue to address grievances towards the airline, which focuses on the manpower on flights along with providing flight attendants and staff the proper compensation for their services. The flight attendants union has cited the problems which has resulted in flight attendants taking huge pay cuts while having to work longer hours and reduced periods of layovers. Because of this, the Flight Attendants Union of Cathay Pacific has countered the claims of the airline that flight operations remain normal, as flight attendants have grown frustrated with the current situation. In its letter, it cited an example of over 30 flights of Cathay Pacific departing mostly between Hong Kong and Japan on the 1st of January, having without a full crew component. On these flights, in the premium and economy class sections, with a capacity of nearly 300 passengers, they stated that there were only 4 crew members working, where normally there would be 7. After previously stating its grievances to the airline, which they feel has fallen off deaf ears, the Cathay Pacific Flight Attendants Union acknowledged the disruptions of flights that could occur and addressed passengers of the airline saying, quote, "We are disheartened to see any impact on your travel plans. However, our fundamental call for treating us in a humane way has fallen on deaf ears. We have no choice but to implement work-to-rule starting from January 19. These tensions have been building up as Cathay Pacific has gone through the challenges brought upon by the pandemic, especially as the flight crew and airlines and the pilots have had to deal with the impact of the Hong Kong border and travel restrictions. Flight crews of the airline has had to deal with long quarantine times along with scheduling that really took them to the brink, leading to the Cathay Pacific Flight Attendants Union, which represents around 3,000 of the airline's flight attendants, to address the issues to the airline and issuing a call to action. Last December, during a general meeting of the union, they voted to start a work-to-rule industrial action and issued an ultimatum to the airline that if the issues were not addressed that they were calling for, they would lead to the call to action around the Chinese Lunar New Year holiday. Among the main points that the union has called for includes the increase in staff on return flights and introduce the minimal rest time for layovers. Also, the Flight Attendants Union has called for meetings with flight attendants and the airline officials to review work contracts. These tensions between the flight attendants and the airline of Cathay Pacific has been brewing for a while, though there has been frustrations with other aspects of the airline as mentioned before. Previously, during the pandemic, there have been reports of pilots for the airline growing frustrated due to the work schedules of the airline, which would have them in a closed loop. In these closed loops, these pilots would be in isolation except of the operations of their flight duties. This has led to reports of pilots leaving the airline. And this adds to the challenges of Cathay Pacific having to deal with the current situation of recovery after the pandemic. How the airline will resolve this situation will have major implications for the Hong Kong traveling public. In response to the work-to-rule action by the flight attendants, Cathay Pacific CEO Ronald Lam addressed the flight attendants in a video calling for unity as the airline has continued its commitment to work for the aviation recovery of Hong Kong and the Greater Bay Area. That unity seems to be far away as the flight attendants start its work-to-rule action. Unless a resolution could be reached, Cathay Pacific could have another challenge on its hands as it recovers from the pandemic. I definitely hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. This has been Flights in Asia, highlighting news and updates from the aviation and travel scene in Asia Pacific. For more of the latest updates, you can check out the website at www.flightsinasia.com. Thank you again for watching and have a great day.